Okay, welcome back to the CLI Basics playlist. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about installing, removing, and searching for packages. Since we are using the Type 1 Linux distribution known as Linux Mint, we will be focusing on APT or APT, which is Advanced Package Tool, and that is across the board for all Debian-based distributions. So that would be Debian, Ubuntu, Linux Mint, like we're playing with here, and countless others. Another Type 1 distribution would be Fedora. And in that case, what you would do is you would replace the apt portion of the command with the DNF keyword. And what that will do is it will essentially do the same thing for what we're talking about here in this video. Installing packages and maintaining repos and that kind of thing is really more of an advanced topic. So as with the last one, we are just going to talk about the very basics that Windows expats and new Linux users need to use. And when it comes to more advanced topics such as repo management and that kind of thing, we will dive deeper into that, of course, in the CLI Advanced that is coming up after this playlist is done. But you will never know about that unless you click that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. So as before, this is on Linux Mint. The entire playlist will be on Linux Mint. And we will go ahead and get started. The first thing we want to do is we want to look at installing a package. The very first video, or the last video, we used NeoFetch. We looked at NeoFetch. And now we're going to learn how to install it. So what we want to do is we want to sudo, okay, and basically what this means is substitute user do. This is something that you have to be a member of the sudo group in order to use this command. By default on these kinds of distributions, the very first user that was created during the installation is in fact a sudo user, so you don't have to really worry about that most of the time. Other types of distributions like the type 2 distributions or type 3, type 4, you have to add all that manually. This is one of the things that differentiates type 1 from type 2 is this kind of stuff is already baked in. You don't have to install it separately. All right, so we're going to hit the space bar and I'm going to do APT, which of course again is the Advanced Package Tool. And again, that's also for Debian-based distributions. You can man this if you want. Man apps. You learned about man in the last command or in the last video, and of course it will walk through the stuff that we're going to talk about in this video and forward. So we'll go ahead and hit Q, and we're going to do sudo apt. And it's always a good idea to do an update, especially if you haven't done one in a while. Let me go ahead and do Control-L to clear that screen. If you do it occasionally, in that way it will go ahead and keep its repository list updated. You will have to put in your password because you're using sudo. And what it does is it just goes out to the internet. It fetches the list of packages and saves them into its local cache, so it knows what versions you have versus what versions are available. And when there's a newer version, you'll see stuff like this right here. If one package can be upgraded, run apt list upgradable to see it. So if we do that, okay, side note here real quick, the only time you absolutely have to run the apt command with sudo is if you are doing updates, upgrades, installing, or removing a package. If you're just searching or getting a list, you do not need the sudo command. So that'll be apt list upgradable. And once you get a couple letters in, you can go ahead and hit the tab key, and that should auto-complete it. But it doesn't look like it's going to, which is weird for Linux Mint. So I'm going to go ahead and Control-L again to clear that screen, and it's going to list that package right there. It also says that you can see there's two additional ones by using the -A. So we'll go ahead and do that, up arrow space -A, and again we'll Control-L to clear the garbage out, and then hit that, and it will give you the list of those other packages. All right, so in order to install those though, we're going to go ahead and do a Control-L again. That requires sudo, and that it would be apt upgrade and hit enter. It didn't want to install it. It says it's available, but it didn't want to install it. However, if you read this right here, it says the following upgrades have been deferred due to phasing. What that means is that it's ready to install, or there's a new version, but it's not quite ready for them to push it to you yet. This is just kind of a heads up. Hey, this package is probably going to be replaced here soon. Don't worry about it. It's not a you thing, it's a them thing. And once that Ubuntu-drivers-common package is ready to be downloaded, it will show up in your upgrades. Now, it's also worth noting that what we're talking about here with this apt updates and stuff like that, on Linux Mint, if you click on the shield here, this is going to be the packages that will show up in this box right here. As you can tell, the system says it's all up to date. But anything that is available, this will automatically notify you on Linux Mint. It also does the same thing on other type 1s like Fedora. Again, this is part of the differentiation between type 1 and type 2 is type 1 does more hand holding, it does more notifications, it does more of the back end stuff for you, where type 2 is more hands-on as far as you are concerned. So we'll go ahead and close that update manager. All right, so again, that's going to be a sudo apt, and we want to install NeoFetch, but what's the name of the package? Well, thankfully, there is a tool that we can use, and that's just apt search, and then we think it's called NeoFetch, but we want to double check. So we'll do apt search NeoFetch and hit enter, and sure enough, right there it is. It's a package. You can install it. That's the name of the package itself, and there's a little blurb about what it does. That's perfect. So what we're going to do then is the sudo apt install NeoFetch. Okay, you can install more packages after that if you want by putting spaces between the packages. But for right now, we're just going to do NeoFetch, and we're going to hit enter. What it's going to do here is it's going to show you these are the additional packages that will be installed because we are installing NeoFetch. It also needs these other packages. Now, there are some suggested packages for you to put in there. Suggested packages are exactly that. They're just suggestions. You might like these kind of packages as well. For example, Inkscape has nothing to do with NeoFetch. Neither does Figlet, GIMP, or FFmpeg. But they're just suggesting that you might like these packages as well. You can safely ignore the suggests for the most part. So down here, right here, it's going to tell you it's going to upgrade 0 packages. It's going to install 27 new packages. It's going to remove 0, and there's going to be one of them that's not upgraded. It needs to download 8,132 kilobytes from archives. After this operation, it's going to take up an additional 27.7 megabytes of disk space. So it's pretty informative about what it needs to do here, and then it is asking your permission. Unlike other operating systems, Linux assumes that this is your hardware. So it's going to ask permission. It doesn't just push the upgrade to you like Windows users are used to. It's like you wake up in the morning and you got new upgrades. Linux is a little bit different than that. Notice how it's got a capital Y there / lowercase n. That just means that yes or Y is the default answer. If you wanted to do something other than the default answer, you would just select or enter. Like if I decided to choose no, I can just hit that lowercase n and hit enter, and it will abort, or it will follow whatever option that is. Okay, since Y is the default, again, we can tell that because it's capitalized, we're just going to go ahead and just hit enter. You could put Y in enter as well, and it's going to go ahead and download and install those. You can see that progress bar across the bottom, and now it's done. Control L is going to clear the screen, and now we can also go ahead and type that NeoFetch command, and there it is. Another command we talked about during the first video was the bash top command. So we're going to go ahead and clear this out again. We're going to reuse our commands from our previous executions, so we don't have to type all that out all over again. We're just going to hit the up arrow until we get back to this line here, and we're going to replace the word NeoFetch with bash top. Hit enter. It does the same thing. It's going to suggest packages to you. Other packages is going to install, how much space it's going to take up. This time I'm going to demonstrate that you can actually hit the Y and hit enter and it will still install. But you don't have to enter anything if the default option is the one that you're choosing. Again, Control L to clear the screen. And now we can type in bash top and hit enter. And what this is going to do is it's going to put this little system monitoring tool on your screen in front of you. And if you remember in the last video I told you about the load average. Again, that is the total average. But here is a list of all the cores that you have, right? And notice some of them are used more than others. And so that's where I was talking about where that math was going to break out. Again, that we're going to go deeper into that in the advanced, so you don't have to worry too much about that. I'm just demonstrating here in this video how you can install different packages. Well, let's say we wanted to remove bash top. Okay, so what we can do is Control L to clear the screen. We'll go back up here to sudo, and we're going to, in this case, we're going to replace the word install with the word remove and hit enter. And it's going to do the exact opposite. Once you hit yes, it's going to remove bash top. Okay, so that's pretty much going to be it. We've got our upgrade, install, and remove. As a basic user, that's pretty much all you're going to need to know as far as that is concerned. That's how you do that from the command line. In the graphical interface, you do that through your update manager. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you haven't already, shame on you. Anyway, see you the next time.